Hey guys, hope you're well. And in this video, I will discuss how I personally use affirmations to manifest what I want. Now, I will be sharing everything in this video. I will share what kind of affirmations that I do, how I make them for myself. Do robotic affirmations work for me or not? If feeling is important when it comes to affirmations, does your belief matters when it comes to affirmations? And how much to do it, how many times to do it? So let's just get into this video and let's understand this in detail. So the first thing that is important to see and understand here is that affirmations are not magic, which means that affirmations are not just going to magically change the way that you get things in your life. In fact, affirmations are helpful and a very helpful tool, but only if they're embodied in your daily life. Now, if you want a video on embodiment, please leave a comment down below and I will make a different video on embodiment. But embodiment basically comprises of you changing your actions, your perceptions, your way of thinking, your mindset, which is just a combination. And affirmations is a very good way to initiate that change. Affirmations is a very good way to make yourself believe you are who you say you are. And once you follow it with your words, once you follow it with your actions, once you follow it with the way that you conduct yourself, it definitely has results. An example and a small example of this would be is, let's say I'm affirming I'm worthy, or let's say I'm affirming I'm loved. Me affirming I'm loved will never align with me settling in a situation where I'm receiving breadcrumbs. That's just something that will never happen. If I am saying I'm loved, I will never allow myself to settle in a situation where I'm receiving breadcrumbs. If I am doing that, then in itself that affirmation doesn't mean much. And even if it does mean anything, it is not going to give me the full result that that affirmation can present me. Because of which I will have a self-settling tendency when it comes to affirmations. And I will not be able to extract the full level of results, the full level of success that I want from it. That's the first thing. Second thing, affirmations is just a technique. Eventually, if you feel like you like doing a different technique, you definitely can do it. And it's completely fine. There are different techniques that people align with. For some people, visualization works best. For some people, affirmations work best. For some people, scripting things works best. So there is no one size fits all. You can definitely apply things based on what you feel comfortable with. Now let's talk about affirmations. So there are different ways through which people affirm. Some ways are robotic affirmations, some ways are thinking about these affirmations in a longer format, some are short and crisp affirmations, and some are like Dr. Joseph Murphy, who used to have long, elaborative affirmations. So how I personally decide and make my affirmations is, first thing I do is I decide what I want to actually focus on. So let's say my focus and my goal towards doing these affirmations and techniques is to manifest, for example, love in my life. Now let's say my focus is love, and while I'm focusing on love, I will first ask myself what are my biggest limiting beliefs that directly just come to my mind when it comes to this particular topic. And a very good way to identify what your limitations are is just to generally ask yourself, what do I truly feel about that topic? And the first instinctive thoughts that come to you are usually what you truly believe about it. Now, there will be times when this thought will come and you will change it, but the first instinctive thought is what you truly believe about it. They can be a good guideline. Now, this thought doesn't always have to be true, neither does it have to be set in stone or become your identity. It's just something that is used to identify what I truly believe. After I find this out, this becomes one of my limiting beliefs. So let's say I do this activity and I ask myself, what do I truly believe about love? And the first thought that comes to my mind is, I believe love is very difficult, or I believe people are not loyal when it comes to love. Now, after I have identified that, after I have identified what my issue is, I will be making an affirmation opposite of that. A big reason why people don't use affirmations correctly is because we are focused on the symptoms. We are not focused on the cause. Now, for example, here I'm manifesting love, right? And let's say my goal being love, I can just start affirming I am loved, I'm in a loving relationship, which in itself is not a bad affirmation. But if I have done that and that affirmation doesn't truly work with me, that means that there is something inside of my mind that is not resonating with that particular affirmation. Now, at the start, it's fine if affirmations instantly don't resonate with you. So if you start affirming and it instantly doesn't make you feel belonging and the feeling of comfort, that's fine, because it's slightly away from your comfort zone right now, which is the whole point of doing this activity. But if you have been doing an affirmation for months and also aligning your actions with it, and it still doesn't make you feel good about that topic at least, then you need to find out what is the reason, the main reason why I don't want this. Because after I find that reason, I can focus on the cause. So let's say here I am affirming that I want a relationship, but I'm not fully ready for relationships because my mind is trying to keep me safe. It believes that relationships people leave, or people are not loyal. Now, unless I first change this belief, for me to get into a belief that I can believe that I'm in a relationship would be very difficult. So the first thing I would do is I would focus on this root cause. I would focus on the root cause of the situation, which will help me feel better about my limitations first. Now, first, I will start doing that. Now, how will I name and frame these affirmations? So, I personally do my affirmations in English, even though my native language is Hindi. The big reason being because they make me feel more aligned that way. Now, if you want to do it in any language, that is not a concern. Your mind knows what you're talking about. You can understand it, and then that's fine. As long as you are able to know what the words mean and what is the meaning of those words to you, it is fine. How I frame my affirmations is I frame it in a way as if I'm telling a statement to another individual, or I'm telling a statement to myself in a meditation. There are two different ways through which I go about it. So, the two different ways through which I can label and make this particular affirmation can be: it's so safe for me to believe that in relationships people are loyal. Just one. Or it's so easy for me to believe that in relationships people are loyal. That's one. The other way that I can actually go about it if I'm in under a meditation is I can affirm this way, that I allow myself to believe in relationships people are loyal. Now, these are two different ways of affirming, right? One is more so of a statement that I would tell someone. The other is more so of a statement that I'm making myself believe. Both work. There is no harm in doing any. What matters is which one makes you feel more comfortable and aligned, which one makes you feel more in line with the thing that you're trying to affirm for. After you have identified it, now comes to the second part on how much to do it, how many times is it helpful, if affirmations really would help if you do them in a robotic way. So first, I personally am not a big fan of robotic affirmations. I have done them in the past, but for some topics which I had zero negligible resistance against, because when I repeat it more, it makes me feel more powerful. So let's say I'm going and playing a game with one of my friends, right? If I consistently keep affirming that I have won, I've scored this much, I've done this, it doesn't make me feel desperate about the topic. It makes me feel powerful. In those situations, I can robotically affirm, because that's something that I'm in my mind using to hype myself up, which I personally don't see anything wrong with. The issue is that a lot of topics, while we are using robotic affirmations on them, can mask the real issue. And a lot of times, while I'm doing robotic affirmations, or while people are, it can have a tendency to make them feel more desperate. So, questions to ask yourself should be: number one, are these affirmations making me feel more powerful, or are they making me feel more desperate? Number two, the kind of time that robotic affirmations are requiring of me on a daily basis is something, can I provide to it? Because if the answer is no, then you can approach it in a different way. Now, again, nothing wrong with robotic affirmations. It's mostly, I have seen that, a technique that can create a lot of resistance in people and can make people slightly more desperate. Now, how I personally do affirmations is I meditate on my affirmations 10 minutes 2 to 3 times a day. I have talked about it before, but how I go about it is I sit down, I close my eyes, I slowly take a few deep breaths, and then I repeat these affirmations to myself. When it comes to these, I usually do the second set where I talk about I allow myself to feel this, I allow myself to feel this, and I slowly repeat them. If I have set a timer for 10 minutes, I probably only repeat these affirmations in my mind 7 to 8 times, because that in itself makes me feel powerful about it, right? Now, if it is making me feel more powerful if I repeat it more, then do that. There is nothing wrong with that. Like, it does not have to be my way or your way or someone else's way. You can find a way that works for you when it comes to this topic. What more is important is how they make you feel. Now, another question that people ask me is, if repetition is the key and you repeat it only a few times, how does it matter? Because repetition is not about the affirmations. Repetition is you showing up as the version of you who has what they want. So if I am even doing 5 affirmations and it is making me feel powerful, which is the version of me I want to feel about, like, and I want to be, then that has achieved the goal that I'm set out to do. So that in itself is something that has given me what I wanted. So there is nothing essentially wrong with that. Now the next question, do I need to believe my affirmations? So first, you don't need to believe your affirmations fully. You just need to believe that they can potentially be true, which in itself comes with two things. First, it comes with self-concept work. So once I start to work on my self-concept, I will start to feel way more comfortable with believing that things or great things are possible for me. That's number one. But on a second note, after I start working on myself, the things that I will be affirming for, I will be believing that they can happen. So for me, the concept would become that it is believable that this is possible, right? If it is not, then I can first persist a little bit more, because a lot of times what you are lacking is not something in the affirmations, but with the persistence. Just like I mentioned before, if you have been trying it for a long time and it doesn't work, then change it. But if you have just started and after a few days you are feeling resistant, that's fine, push through it. That's where you need to push through that resistance. But if after a while you feel still that these affirmations are not aligning with me, or they are not actually making me believe I am who I say I am, then you can go one step lower. For example, in this particular instance, if this affirmation of I allow myself to believe that people are loyal in relationships doesn't make me feel good, then I can go with a different one, which is I am starting to believe that people are loyal in relationships, which will be slightly more comfortable for me and my belief system. So I hope this video helps. I have just given you everything about affirmations, and if you feel I have missed something, leave them down in the comments below. I will either make another video on it or a shorts on it, or I will post something about it on Instagram so that your questions get answered. I will see you guys in the next video and hope you have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share if you liked the video. The link for my one-on-one coaching, my self-help courses, and my free newsletter are in the description box below.